Yo, yo, what's up? What's up? It's the one and only hip hop gamer, Hot 97, Logitech G. This interview is going to be extremely, extremely powerful. All right. I'm so serious right now. You know what I'm talking about? I have somebody that I feel in my heart as a gamer is legendary. Legendary. Now, before I introduce this person, I'm going to just hold up a title. I'ma just hold up a title. I'ma hold up this title. This title right here, I literally would play all day, every night, every morning because of how groundbreaking this title is. And right now, I have the senior producer over at Codemasters. This dude has a laundry list of greatness of gaming under his belt. I present to you, I give to you the one and only Robert Karp. Let's go, bro. How you feel, man? What's up?
I feel great. Thanks for having me on. It's very exciting.
Yo, dude, let me tell you, man. The reason why I had to show this title, bro, because when I look at the weather effects in this game, the sound effects, the control, the mud, all the sunset, the rain, like everything about this game was groundbreaking. This game, like, look, I play Gran Turismo, I play Forza, tons of games, and a lot of they still don't stack up. The sense of speed, all of that, like this game is incredible. And when I seen Dirt 5 and I was watching gameplay and I started to see signs like hints of what I saw in Drive Club, but just taken to the next level. I was blown away. I was excited. So I just want to tell you, man, your work is phenomenal, and I can't wait to break all of this stuff down. So let's start,
Thank you
man.
very much.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I only worked on Drive Club a little bit, so I can't take much of the credit for that. But the team on that, and some of them are working on Dirt 5. Great guys and girls, absolutely fantastic.
Yeah, I was blown away, man. So here's what I want to say. Let's start. Let's set it off right now. So with Dirt 5, man, just going into the development, of this game and stuff. Uh, what was the main goal, like that you wanted to, especially going into next generation and everything? But what was the main goal of Dirt 5 that y'all wanted to accomplish? Because what I'm seeing right here, y'all vision is so high. So what was the main goal y'all wanted to accomplish with Dirt 5, and what you want to get from the fans when they experience this game when it comes out?
Sure. So I think we had a few different goals. One of the big ones was making it more of an open and accessible title. When we talk about the Dirt franchise, people talk about Dirt Rally and then the number Dirts. And kind of in the studio, we had an ongoing in joke that, the guys that make Dirt Rally was a grey, wet, miserable day in Wales. Obviously, Wales is a beautiful country, but, it was kind of like that. Whereas we talked about Dirt 5 as being vibrant, colourful, fun, accessible, amplified. And so that was the kind of what we wanted to take through with the game. For me, one of the features from the beginning, when we figured that we'd be able to make it in line with, when About's next gen was coming out, I really wanted to do split screen. I felt like split screens kind of died away in games these days because of online multiplayer, but I still think it's a great way to play games, and particularly with people with friends who live locally or family, it's great to get into. And then the next big feature that we had was kind of the playgrounds mode, which is user generated content, and that means that the game's almost alive forever. Every day when you boot up the game, there's new levels, new events to go and try out, something different, which is awesome.
Yo, I'm gonna tell you right now, when that trailer show, or when you showed the trailer and you started showing off playgrounds, I was like, yo, this is different. It's like limitless and endless to what this game is gonna have in terms of replayability. But here's my question to you. This is just something that I thought of. Do y'all have like a random generator when it comes to the playground mode? Or what I mean by that is you may have a lot of people that want to, play around with creating their own level, but then you may have people that just want to hit like a random button where like a level just randomly generates. So it's like every time you push this button, you're going to get a level that nobody has never seen before simply
Sure.
because it's a random generator. Have y'all thought about including something like that or building something like that into the game? Because I think that would take it to a whole nother level for those that's not interested in building their own level but want to see something different as opposed from what the devs made, from a standard.
Sure. So I think when you or I make a playground, you have to go and play it and validate that it's playable, and then you publish it, and then the whole world or the whole Dirt 5 community can go and play that playground. We haven't really talked about randomly generated levels. Um, so that's not something that we're thinking about for Dirt 5. I think for playgrounds, that would be a really cool idea, but it's definitely a big job. And I think that we want to unleash people's creativity. We'd probably have to remove some things that fit it together to do it randomly generated. Whereas
Mm.
now you can go in and you can add decorations yourself where you want to put decorations. You can add road signs to go left or right where you want to put them, and maybe you put a left-hand turn in, but you put the signs showing people to go right if you want to try and trick them.
Oh,
You know,
what? Oh,
and
that's crazy. All right, wow, that's dope. That's dope. I didn't know
and
that.
yeah. So if you do it randomly generated, you're probably going to dull down the creativity experience.
Oh, I see. I see. All right, that makes sense. That makes sense. So now I gotta ask you, man. The technology that y'all built, that was utilized in the Drive Club game. I'm seeing it. Like I'm seeing signs of it, like to the next level in Dirt 5. So when it comes down to like the weather effects, like bro, there was some videos that I seen and the lightning, like everything. I was like, yo, I can't believe it. Yo, Rob, if I was able to see you in person right now, I gave you a big hug. Like you have no clue. Like the joint is incredible. So the technology, can you talk a little bit about just the sheer technology that y'all put
Sure.
into Dirt 5 or things that y'all was able to borrow from Drive Club to make better in Dirt 5?
Sure. So I'm not a tech guy. None of the technology that was made in Drive Club is in Dirt 5. However, the people that made the technology for Drive Club also made the technology in Onrush, which has been built upon to make Dirt 5. And the dynamic weather system is one of those. And so that means you can start an event and it might be mid-morning, maybe some morning dew out on the grass, and then as you race around the track or the point-to-point event, the weather can change. And so depending on where you are, which location you're driving in, it might start snowing, it might start raining, you could get a thunderstorm come in, it could be a bright and clear day with no clouds. And what that means is every time you play a race, not only does it look great and it looks awesome, but it also changes the way you play the game. When you're driving a track that you played it during the day, but then it's night and it's heavy snow, your visibility is massively decreased. Accelerating can be a bit trickier. Your braking distances are going to be shorter. So you really have to judge those corners and the racing line even better.
Yeah, I can't wait, man. So now Dirt 5, when y'all first unveiled it in May at the Xbox Series X showcase, the third party showcase.
Yep.
One and I gotta give you the hardcore fan questions, you know what I'm saying? Like I gotta do that. So when y'all first showed it, right, at the bottom, there was a disclaimer saying that this is the expected quality of what you're gonna
Sure.
get on Xbox Series X. Can you confirm that like what we seen in that trailer will actually like look like that and play like that running on actual Xbox Series X hardware? Because a lot of
Sure.
fans was like, well, if this was running on PC and not Xbox, is it gonna be like that? Like, should I get this Xbox? Like, what's going on? So
Sure.
now, we are a couple of months out. Xbox already announced November 10th and everything and stuff like that. And I know y'all
Yep.
launching with the system, so congratulations to that. But can we get that confirmation that it will actually look and play or possibly look even better than what you first unveiled to us for next generation?
So on the 9th of September, Xbox released new footage, and that shows live gameplay footage captured on Xbox Series S. So you can go and see that right now if you want. The video that we made for the announced trailer is a rendered video. It's not gameplay footage. So The gameplay is different to that, but in terms of visual quality, you can get that on an Xbox Series X.
Oh, so you can. So okay, cool. So we can get that visual quality on the Xbox Series X, and what we saw recently was running on the Series S.
Yeah, Series S.
Got you,
Yeah.
got you. So
And there'll be more content coming soon that'll show off Xbox Series X. But a lot depends on, the kind of, as I was saying, we have dynamic weather. So that race that you saw in the announced trailer, you'd need to go and play the New York in winter for the ice race
mm,
with the Porsche and the other cars that are in it, set with the right weather conditions to get exactly the same experience.
got you, got you. Okay, great. So now, when y'all also made the announcement about Dirt 5 being 120 frames per second, bro, you gotta tell me what that's like in the office. Like, yo, well, I mean, I know y'all at home, we all at home, but behind the scenes, man, what is the game like? What can you tell us about playing? Just simply playing Dirt 5 at 120 frames per second. And is that 4K 120 frames per second, or is it a lower resolution? However, y'all pulling it off. But can like what does it feel like? Like what can gamers
Sure.
expect with a 120 FPS Dirt 5 game, bro? That's insane.
So we've worked on a couple of things, not just 120 frames, but also decreasing the latency that you get on your input. And the latency on input for 120 frames is obviously much less than at 30 frames and, half that at 60 frames. And it's really interesting because we've had a few different people play it. And some people are like, oh, well, I can't really tell the difference between 30 and 60 frames. And,
Mm.
I'm like, what? And they're like, oh, but if you put it next to each other, I can tell. And I'm
Right,
like, really? You can't tell? And then there's other people, in the office that play games, and they're like, I can tell 30 to 60. I don't need any side by side comparisons or whatever.
right.
And 120 frames is faster, so it gives you more. It gives you more. Taking those hairpins or hitting the apex on corners, or just getting that extra little bit of movement or turn in at the time you need it. More kind of dexterity is not the right word, but greater accuracy of input, which means that if you're really into your racing, you can do better and better at 120.
Oh, I can't wait, man. I can't wait. And like just like real quick, like how is how like the systems is really that powerful enough, or like with the way y'all designed this game, where you could pull off 4K 120 on Dirt 5 on the Series X? And
Um, so I can't talk to you yet about the resolutions because the
oh,
tech
okay,
director will kill me.
okay, all right,
Um,
cool, no
but
problem, no problem.
but but it's going to look good. I don't know whether it's going to be a 1080p, 1440p, 4K, but it looks good. And I think people who want to play 120, for them, it's about gameplay more than visuals. If you want to play at 4K, you're going to be able to do that,
Okay,
but
so
not necessarily at 120.
got you. So there's a pretty much like an
There's a
option for it.
trade-off.
Yeah, it's a trade off.
Yeah.
That's fine. That's fine. So now there's been so much talk about the DualSense controller, and I know y'all already made mention of some of the things that y'all utilizing. But what I wanted to ask you is, when you look at the PlayStation 5 and you look at the Xbox Series X, from the standpoint of the controller, from the standpoint of performance, from the standpoint of all of this stuff, what's um what is the impact that you feel when gamers get this game in their hands and they use the DualSense controller? Based on your experience, what do you really think gamers is gonna say? Because the way they talk about it, it's like something that we never felt before. So
Sure.
considering how unique Dirt 5 is, from the icy roads, you know what I'm saying, to the corners and everything like that you're gonna be hitting, like what is that like on a DualSense controller? Since that's the controller that has all these functions that Sony put in
Sure.
for developers to use.
So when I first used the development dual senses, um, we used the resistive triggers, and I thought they were broken because it stops you pushing it down, or it gets firmer as you push it down, depending on what you've implemented it for where. So I was like, what? But then, as you use it and get used to it, it can offer, a greater range of inputs essentially, based on, what car you're driving, or if you implement it for ABS, for example, when you press your foot hard on the brake for ABS in a real car, it has that kind of like feeling.
Yeah.
So you can mimic that on the controller with the resistive triggers for the ABS. So really, a lot of it's going to depend on um, how developers implement it for their games. How does it work in an FPS? What do you do with it in an action game? And I think that because it's our first time, we're probably gonna, it's pretty good, but it's not going to be the best it can be. In 3 or 4 years, once everybody's used to using it, really understands it, then we'll really see the level it's at.
Wow,
But it's
that's
a great addition.
insane. That's insane. Just by the way you broke that little bit down, just sounds incredible, man. I can't wait to get my experience on it, man. So now, another thing that I would say, and a lot of the fans was wondering too. As gamers, like we want to get everything. You know what I'm saying? But not everybody can afford everything. You know what I'm saying? So people will choose an Xbox or they'll choose a PlayStation. So my question to you, when it comes to Dirt 5, um, what not so much to ask you like what is the better version, whatever, but your experience with working with PlayStation 5 and your experience working with Xbox Series X, what would you say from a developer's standpoint? What has been, like, I guess, the pros and cons for both of them? Like what really
Sure.
stands out about the Xbox Series X, and what's something that's like and what's something that stands out big about the PlayStation 5, and something that's like, like what do one give you that the other one don't, or whatever it is. But
Sure.
from the standpoint of Dirt 5 and the way that game is made, is there any pros and cons across both Xbox Series X and PlayStation 5 that you could share with us that will help gamers decide that, you know what, based on what you said, I'm still going to get the game, but I might get this version over that version?
Sure. Firstly, they're both great companies to work with. Not perfect, they have their faults and they're different in each of the ways. I think Dirt 5 is an experience that across those platforms, it doesn't matter if you're on Xbox Series X or PlayStation 5 or on PC. It's a great experience on all of them. And in terms of like features and functionality, they're very much aligned. Um, from a consumer's perspective, and I play games. It's really difficult because there's some great stuff that Xbox are doing. Their announcement the other day with the EA Play is fantastic. PlayStation showed some great titles at their event, and I think that those two companies should make one console and make everyone's lives cheaper and save them more money, and we could get them all at once. That'd be great.
Yo, you the only person that said that like that. I like that. I like that. That was dope. That was pretty dope. So, but yeah, man, like I had to ask that question because I know one of the biggest things that developers this generation has been talking about was the performance of the SSD and what that does for your games now. Now, the question that I have for you is, this is also a game that's on PlayStation 4 and Xbox One as well. So is because this is a cross-generational game, I know you may not be able to max out the PlayStation 5 and the Xbox Series X like you want to because it's cross generational. But do you have plans to, like, let's say Dirt 6, or like the next game that y'all make, to make a game where it's built from the ground up, where it's only like for PlayStation 5 and only for Xbox Series X, like only for the next generation? Because I think that's where we get a chance to truly see y'all development talent like shine and go to the next level and stuff.
Sure.
Um,
Thank you.
you know what I'm saying? Yeah,
So,
like that's what I can't wait to see. So can you speak to the difference that the SSD makes now and what it will make in the future when y'all make a game specifically for the next
sure.
generation?
So our engine is really scalable, which means that making games for more powerful or less powerful consoles or PCs is I want to say easily achievable, but some of the coders might say, well, it's not that easy. Um, but I think that first thing I've noticed, and we haven't done loads of work on the SSD on the new generations of consoles. I think they're NVMe's or something along those lines. Is that the game loads so quickly? You know, Dirt 5 doesn't take a massive amount of time to load on current generation. It's relatively quick, but on next gen, and we haven't even done loads of optimization on that.
Oh
It's
wow.
super quick to get into races and events, and so I think that bodes massively well. And I think in the future, that's going to mean more content in games. You know, games like Grand Theft Auto are already massive. You know, a lot of other Assassin's Creed games, huge. Doing those on next generation hardware means bigger worlds, more fidelity. And I think when it comes to Codemasters, Dirt 5, Formula One, you know, the other titles that we make, I think that means you're going to see bigger racing games, you know, longer tracks or, you
Mm.
know, higher fidelity vehicles. Um, but, you know, at some point we will develop exclusively for next gen. Um, who knows when that's going to be?
Oh, I can't wait to see what y'all do exclusively on next gen. Oh my god, yo, I can't wait for that. So now I wanted to ask y'all, do y'all have plans to do a VR mode for Dirt 5? And
Sure.
bro, please for me, please, bro, do like yo, even if it's an add-on or something, like do a VR mode. Like I'm just asking, did y'all have plans for that? Because I got the Logitech G steering wheel, and when you like, let's say I'm playing Gran Turismo, and yo, it's a whole new experience. So thinking
Yep.
about the type of game Dirt 5 is, that'd be crazy. Have y'all thought about implementing a VR mode?
So back when I did work on Drive Club, we had a steering wheel rig set up with a headset, and we made a few additions to it. So we put some fans down in front, and when you drove, you turn the fan on to go faster, and so you
Oh,
could get even more.
oh, that's
So
crazy.
if you want to give yourself that little bit more immersion, there's some ideas for you. At the minute, we don't have any plans to bring VR to Dirt 5,
Okay.
but never say never.
Okay, got you, got you. So now, one thing I like about the game is like the different game modes y'all got. One game mode that I really like was Smash. Like that
Sure.
just looked like you'll play that all day. Like you know what I'm saying. So I thought that was pretty cool. Um, when the main thing I want to ask you right now is with the Xbox Series X version and the PlayStation 5 version, what's some of the things we're going to see in those versions that you're not going to get on the PlayStation 4 and the Xbox One? Like pretty much what can you do now that literally could not be done before, that we're going to get that experience November 10th, on the Series X at least, because that's what's been officially
Sure.
announced. But what can y'all do now that y'all couldn't do before?
Sure. So on Dirt 5, all the content is the same across all the platforms. So, you know, if you can race a car on a specific track, you can do that on Xbox Series X or PS5, but you can do it on PS4 and Xbox One. However, you know, the things we're bringing to next gen are the 120 frames, the second option. So features like that that make it faster loading, you know, some of the haptic and adaptive triggers. Those are the things that you're going to get on next gen, as well as, you know, higher visual quality.
Got you. So now here's a couple of questions. This is more of like getting your fan side, like getting your fan, just being a gamer. You know what I'm saying?
Sure.
So recently we've seen games like Ratchet and Clank and Spider-Man Miles Morales on PlayStation, and that Unreal Engine demo that a lot of people are still going crazy about. Tim Sweeney and stuff like that. Um, just as a fan, like what are your thoughts looking at what PlayStation 5 has like shown us like so far in terms of their exclusive titles and the technology and the way other developers have been talking about it? Like what is your thoughts on based off what you've seen? And cuz I know soon you're going to be working on something, exclusively for the next generation system. So I know that excites y'all as well. But just as a fan of games, looking at the stuff that's been shown, what are your thoughts on everything that's been seen? And when you look at the Unreal Engine demo in particular, how impressive is that in your opinion from a game developer standpoint?
Sure. So I think Ratchet and Clank's a really good example. The way they have that mechanic where you kind of switch between worlds
Yeah.
instantaneously. That's what really shows some of the things the next gen can do. I think from a game developer's perspective, um, when you have like first generation games on new platforms, they only really scratch the surface of what they can do. You know, if you look at games like The Last of Us 2, for example, that came out on PS4 not that long ago, you compare that to the first games that came out on PS4, it's leaps ahead.
Yeah.
So the Unreal 5 showcases to me, you know, some of what's possible for next gen, and it looks great and it's super exciting. I think that, you know, from a development perspective, games are going to get bigger, which means they're going to get harder to make, more people, more work, more effort. But, you know, that's what we love doing. So it's exciting times.
Got you. And I just got two more questions and I'll wrap it up. The whole process of, like Evolution Studios coming to Codemasters and things like that, what how did y'all work together out the gate as a team? Because what I try to tell a lot of people is that you can have a great IP, you can have great ideas, but if y'all can come together as a team to execute and make it like work, you're gonna have problems. You know what I'm saying? So
Sure.
what was it about the Evolution Studios team when they came to Codemasters? What's some of the things that y'all did like behind the scenes as a team to come together to be able to make such an amazing like game and utilizing technologies and bouncing ideas off of one another? I just think that that's great and I commend you guys for it. So what was that
Thank
process
you.
like, bringing them on board and getting this new team ready and prepared to work
Sure.
together?
So I think like the development team in the studio, they're relatively close knit, and you know, working working together and making great ideas and having great concepts for the games and being great from a technology standpoint. You know, that was something they were used to. I think that, you know, different companies operate differently. I'm moving from, you know, being part of the PlayStation family uh, to being part of Codemasters. Um, I think that's took some time for us to integrate within the company, work out how best we wanted to operate, understand how Codemasters operates, and, you know, learn from them, because ultimately, you know, um, the guys at Evolution Studio have made some great racing games, but Codemasters have made some fantastic racing games too. You look at Formula One, and you know, this year's Formula One's incredible. And you look at the dirt rallies and the dirt franchise, and I think that, you know, between there's a lot of give and take of trying to figure out and learning from each other, seeing what they do well, what things we can take and benefit from them to integrate within the studio and the team and the processes for that. So
Wow.
it was a really interesting time.
Wow. And to end it off, um, right now, like when you have the PlayStation 5 and the Xbox Series X coming to the market, there's always talk about which one is most powerful or which one has this and what don't have that and stuff. What I want to ask you is, when it comes to the technical side of it all, like the back end, um, what system, in your opinion, if you can answer this question, but what system is the better system in terms of like like
The
what
architecture.
yeah, like the architecture. So like I know a lot of people would say the SSD is better in PlayStation 5 than the Xbox Series X, but then the Xbox Series X got more teraflops than this. What is the actual determining factor of what makes something more powerful, or what is the key element between these systems where PlayStation 5 shines more or Xbox Series X shines more? And this is more for just educational purposes in terms of
Sure.
me asking you that question.
Um, I think it's opinion based. I think, you know, they're two great systems, and I think depending on how you like to work and what you like to do, might depend on whether you'd prefer PS5 or Xbox Series X. I'm not a technical guy, so I can't speak about how the system architectured or how you have to implement various APIs. And there's some stuff that's fiddly and annoying to do on Xbox. There's some stuff that's fiddly and annoying to do on PS5, and there's some stuff that works really well on one, and some stuff that works really well on the other. So I think that they're both great. For me, it's never been about the power. It's more from a gamer perspective. It's never been about the power. It's more about the experience, the software. I think that we're at a level now where when Nintendo released the NES, 8-bit gaming, it was a big thing, and then Mega Drive came along with the 16-bit. It was double that, and you could do it didn't all have to be side scrolling and whatnot. And I think that we're at a stage now where games look great on PS4. On PS5 and Xbox Series X, they're just going to look better, but the leaps are smaller. So the dev teams need to work harder to make the games more engaging and have more features and more content.
So to me, I think it's always up to the developers. Whatever the developers can come up with to bring out the best in the systems. That's the way I always felt about it. And your answer clarifies that. So Rob, bro, God bless you and thank you for your time, bro. I appreciate you, man. Listen, is there anything
Thanks for having me on?
Of course, bro. Of course. We gotta do this again.
Love to.
When I know the game is coming out November 10th, but is there anything you want to say to the fans? Like any last words you want to say to the fans to leave them with so they could be excited, that much more excited for Dirt 5? And when can we expect it to be out on all platforms?
Coming out November 6th with early access on November 3rd if you order the Amplified Edition, which includes a bunch of extra cars and content, some of which you get at launch, some of which will be coming as part of our service plan. We've got quite big and exciting plans for service. So, if you're into Playgrounds, not only will new people be making Playgrounds for it, but we'll also be adding content and features to that. So we can't wait for you to get the game. Super exciting for us.
Yo, I can't wait. So look, y'all, this is Rob Karp. You know what I'm talking about? Dirt 5. And listen, anybody that has ever in life played this game, you gonna lose your mind when you play Dirt 5. I'm telling you, man, this joint is crazy. So look, it's the one and only HipHopGamer, Logitech G on your Hot 97 every day. That's my word. And on that note, God bless y'all. Codemasters all day for life. And we are out of here.